Flying through these YouTube streets, looking for some content, came across a title that said The Row, not Death Row, The Row. You know, I had to tap in because that's my stretch of being with Suge Knight. It says The Row, the last days of Death Row Records. And I was a part of The Row. So I said, damn, constant, consistent, continuous content creation campaign continues. So why not? With no further ado, we finna see what they say The Row has been up to or was up to. Of course, you know I'm looking, expecting to be mentioned. Be shocked if I'm not.
Next nigga coming out, we want y'all to keep your eyes open.
Then I did my deal in the pen, man. I went up to the penitentiary, you know what I'm saying? I seen Suge Knight. He was like, yo, I can get you on BET, MTV, I can get you awards, I can get you all that. You know what I'm saying? And I said, yeah, but can you give me rich?
This is new Death Row right here, have it thing. This is my family right here. All these niggas my family.
Death Row Records, what's the revenue in a year? Just to give me some perspective.
It's in the millions.
Actually, I thought Death Row was back once again for another run. You know what I'm saying? That's real. I thought Death Row was back for another run. And
some make it out alive, some don't.
Tupac passed away on September 13th, 1996. 5 months later, Suge Knight was sentenced to 9 years in prison. He served half of his sentence, and when he got out, Death Row was already in ruins.
Death Row, there was too many mixed up minds over there.
Well, what made me leave is the business wasn't really right.
And he was the first one to leave Death Row, and he left because the situation wasn't right.
Me and my girl would go to Venice Beach one day just to have a relax and just, you know, nothing special. And every car we pulled up on was playing the Chronic. Then when I started asking questions, I got put on the shit list.
It was almost, I would compare it almost to the situation with Cube and NWA at the time. You know, Cube was basically a backbone for NWA when it comes to the creative element and stuff like that. You know, and it was the same thing with RBX because all it was RBX, DOC, Snoop, and Dr. Dre. That's the Chronic right there when you name them cats.
the opportunity that I had with Snoop, even though Snoop was the West Coast, I always had a lot of controversy behind me. I'm just a country boy trying to eat.
When Snoop left, man, he left and took off, you know, with Master P. You know, he left the whole dog pound alone, to tell you the truth. You know, Snoop had went to No Limit. He told Daz and Corrupt, he was like, man, I don't even feel y'all music no more.
Damn.
He said, I can't even get down with y'all no more.
Suge had one last chance to revive Death Row Records.
You've been doing your thing for a long time. I read articles about how you got started. You really just like an ill entrepreneur, and they ain't recognizing you for that. What you got to say about that?
You know, it ain't about for corporate America. Corporate America got to recognize that every time they can't use my catalog or my masters without getting my permission because I'm the only nigga that own my shit. So that's what it's about. And for us, the other situation is like, it's about me doing what's for the people. I don't care about society, how society look at it. I don't society shit. Before it's the ghettos in the city, I own everything because I'm a product of that. So I wouldn't be shit and one for that. So anytime I can give back, I'm gonna give back. Anytime it's somebody keeping that shit gangster, keeping that shit real.
Suge grew up in a blood neighborhood. He was a blood. Everybody knows who's a blood and who's a Crip.
I care about the ghetto. I love the ghetto. That's where I'm from. That's who need the help. I mean, I'm not part of the letting the rich get richer and the poor get poor. So I'm definitely gonna go back to those ghettos. I'm definitely gonna give back.
First, you gotta take care of your backyard. And by far, Crooked Eye is definitely the best in the West.
And I said, yeah, but can you give me rich? That's what I want. You know what I'm saying? I love hip hop music. It ain't all about the money, but guess what? I put my blood, sweat, and tears into this. It's time for it to kick back something. I ain't tripping on the stardom, the fame, all that. That's cool. If it come, it come. Then can you help me make money? Buy a house for my mama.
I only went to Death Row to, because my godbrother had just signed the contract. I've been making beats for him. It's just like, matter of fact, my first beat I ever made.
That ain't Jim Get 'em, is it?
At a $2 million studio was with Big Crooked, you know what I'm saying? And he was the one that was looking out like, this dude gonna be hard. I looked up, I was doing Tupac, Ja Rule, Lisa.
And I've read an awful lot about you in the past 24 hours. And I tell you, the stuff that I've read about you really characterizes you a bit of a business thug.
You gotta take the bitter with the sweet. I think as a man, if a person know me, they know what I'm capable of doing, they know who I am.
I got into everything you could get into being affiliated with Death Row, whether it was gunplay, whether it was fighting, whether it was going to jail.
Suge Knight himself at this point has not.
I remember that nigga Benz was hot in Long Beach. He had to really be careful where he parked that thing. He didn't stop going to nothing, but yeah, he was really head on the swivel at one point behind this shit.
Investigators say Knight is not a suspect.
We couldn't never get no budget for our record. I just told him, man, we might as well kill it, man. You know what I'm saying? It's like, if we can't do the record, why are we still here?
Suge was in and out of jail, Suge Knight being the CEO, you know what I'm saying? And I had no problem with that. I stayed loyal to him, you know what I mean? During his, time incarcerated or whatever, that was not a problem. The problem was when he went in, a lot of problems occurred at the label. You know what I'm saying? The people second, third, fourth in command, they didn't really know what the hell they was doing, to be honest.
He still had #1 albums on the chart.
Is he referring to you, Reggie?
Still sold a lot of albums, a lot of records. It still was always making news. It still stayed in the public's face. It still was Death Row. But it would have been an insult to me if Death Row would have been doing just as well or better with me in prison than out of prison. Anytime you have the main player of the team not playing the game, it's not the same. Now I'm back. Well, we must be
crazy that you consider yourself the main player of the game. If you was the main player of the game, I guess so.
bigger, better, stronger than ever.
Everybody else still got the street mentality and think they can go do it the street way.
Person after person would die. Not just people in the front of the camera, but people behind the camera would die. You know what I mean? I had a billboard in Beverly Hills, and the guy who did the artwork, Hen Dog, rest in peace, he died.
My nigga Hen Dog. And I think Country was, who y'all know as Bunchy, was managing Crooked Eye. I know he was managing Darren Vegas, the producer. Not the one we just seen Jim get him. He a Mexican producer.
He got killed.
Where 24 sheriff SWAT officers converged on the Beverly Hills Death Row Records headquarters. So served at Suge Knight's homes in Las Vegas and in Malibu.
Locations from LA in Vegas.
The whole thing with the rumors with Suge and all the people that's dropped dead, and Suge was in this and that, knocking the security out supposedly. And
wearing a Death Row chain in the Lakewood Mall, and haters running up to you with the straps, and we sitting in Robinson's May like, okay, nothing standing by them pots and pans, you know what I mean, trying to figure out what we got to do. It had its ups and downs.
So every time I stood on the east side of Long Beach with a Death Row chain on my neck at the VIP in the parking lot, niggas looking at me sideways. Every time I walk through the swap meet to get my white t-shirts, niggas looking at me. I got into so many altercations just being on Death Row to the point where I had to cut my bushes down because niggas said they was going to be hiding in them.
Nah, he ain't lying. I was going through some shit. I don't want to put no X's on it, but it might have been like somebody did some shit to that Benz while it was parked. Did they put a bullet hole in it, flatten the tire, scratch it? They did something to his shit while it was parked.
I had to put motion lights in my backyard. I had to keep them up 9mm on my dresser, and I had to keep my Bible cracked at Psalms 91.
He kept that 9 on his hip too. He was the coolest nigga you would never expect. Had that thing right there on deck. Facts.
Just to get through. Because I lived in the beach, man, where that shit ain't really cool to be affiliated with dude like that. It's tough being on Death Row. People don't understand out there that, on Death Row, we were loyal. I was loyal. That's the reason why I said it hurts me that they would take me through these hoops to feed the people I care about and do what I do in this music industry, because they know that I was loyal. I stayed down.
Yeah, that wasn't Suge office. That was like the meeting room. We had a lot of meetings in that room. I remember when Del Dog and the Main Streets came, it was in that room.
And I went through stuff that a normal artist shouldn't have to go through.
And people getting popped upside their head, and man, it was just a lot of rush. You had to be like a go-getter. If you're gonna be over there, you had to put your hard hat on.
DVD was all about killing Death Row people. You feel me? Mm-hmm. Now, the DVD was predominantly Long Beach people in it. You feel me? I'm from Long Beach. My whole time that I was on death row, I lived it right here in Long Beach. So the thing about it was, one of my real homeboys, Rock, rest in peace, he died, you know what I mean? And I went to his funeral. I pull up at the funeral and I see everybody that was in that DVD that's talking about killing death row people at the funeral. Now I get out being the main person from death row. And I felt so disrespectful because I was in God's house with a gun. You know what I mean? Because all these dudes and the rivals and the problems and the beef, it shouldn't be that way. I'm here to make music. I'm here to take care of people that I care about. And I'm here to, you know what I'm saying, drop shit for the fans. I'm not here for that garbage, you know what I'm saying? But that's the type of stuff that I went through.
Once a $300 million record label with endless talent and money flowing in from every direction, Death Row Records had become a fading empire, an aging giant struggling to compete with a new generation of younger, hungrier artists and executives. The fortune that once fueled the most feared label at hip-hop was slowly consumed by lawsuits, legal battles, and chaos from within. And at the center of it all was Suge Knight, a man who could never fully escape the gang mentality. While the music industry evolved around him, Suge remained trapped in the same cycle of intimidation, street politics, and conflict, and it was all heading toward an inevitable crash.
I remember that day in that red suit. That's when Joel stood up and said that shit.
And in my lap, this is a letter of breach of contract. This is what an artist gives to a label when they are in breach of contract, when they're not honoring the record deal, you know what I'm saying? And this is what I'm about to hand deliver to Death Row, you know what I'm saying, tomorrow. And I'm documenting this on DVD because I'm gonna let you know that, you know, you can leave Death Row and it can still be all good. It ain't no hard feelings. You know what I'm saying? It's just something that I'm doing to boss up.
You gotta choose and say, you know, I either want to be legit, I won't be a hustler. If you want to be a hustler, be a hustler. Don't get into the rap game if you won't be a hustler. Get in the rap game if you don't want to be in the hustle game. I wasn't the most educated person in the world. I had to educate myself. So when I got into the library, I'm trying to find different books about the music business. I wanted to change the game. I had to figure out if everybody else got an artist deal, what else do they have out there? And I found out it was something called a distribution deal. So I'm saying if I get a distribution deal, what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna have to invest my own money, but I could get a bigger percentage of what I put out. So and I own my company.
You know, pick the company that you're gonna mess with. Be careful. Look at all the people that's in that company, so you'll know that you up under the right roof. Because you know a company can make everybody crash. Even though you ain't doing nothing wrong, whatever they do, they gonna look at you as the same thing. You know what I mean? It's just like if it's two niggas out there you hanging out with that's robbing, you the third nigga that's robbing.
You learn, you know, the shortcuts don't always work. The elevator is in real life.
Man, the shortcut is often, almost always the long way.
Broken. Steps is what, you know, you learn that slowly, you know. And I'm still learning.
The Hip Hop Summit sitting next to Russell without an album on the shelf, man. Respect the hustle.
Yeah, the Hip Hop Summit, man. That's the Russell Simmons thing I've been doing. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad that we get to talk about that because it's for a good cause.
Whenever Russell Simmons asks us to do anything, anybody within hip hop line, we go out there and do it because we respect him. He's the Godfather. Everything that he's done, he's represented us in a positive way, and it's always made our culture look good. And showing power and positivity, and also how aware I became of how powerful our culture is.
I know Dang Dash be talking shit. Is anybody aware if he's saying the same thing about Russell these days? If I had to bet, he wouldn't say that about Russell today. I don't know, though.
How we need to have a voice and how we can't have a voice and we can make a difference. About how we stick together in every state and come together and all vote, that no one can take advantage of us and we have to be taken seriously. I was like, I'm down for this. Because I'm definitely one that doesn't like to be oppressed. I hate when people treat me or my culture unfairly, and I'm always going to fight for what I believe in. I'm bringing to the game because it's an option, you know, option for the regular guy to stand up.
We got to increase voter education amongst the urban communities because we think that, you know what I'm saying, our vote don't count when it do. Sometimes a folio win by one vote, you know what I mean? And if one cat in the urban area or hip hop culture would have voted, then we would have been good. Even if you don't believe in the presidency or the governor or the mayor, you can vote to put a speed bump in your neighborhood so a little kid riding a tricycle in the street won't get hit by a drunk car. You know, he got to slow down. I mean, that was the whole thing. I went around the world with Russell Simmons, you know what I'm saying? and we just tried to increase voter education. It was a good thing for me because, you know, outside the music, I want to make my mark as an activist and stay active, you know what I'm saying, and things going on that directly affect us, you know what I'm saying, in the urban community. I made the music. I did everything he asked me to do. Now I'm doing my own company. Let me live, homie. I did that for 4 years. You want to put out all that music? Fine with me. I don't want a cent. I don't want 1 cent. You can put out 45 songs. I don't care. You have all the money. Take it. If you feel you invested something in my career, you can have all the money. Just let me live. Let me do what I do.
I've been a loyal soldier, you know what I'm saying? I was down with Puff for about 4 years. You know what I'm saying? I showed my loyalty to the point where, you know, it was self-explanatory. A lot of people, you know, witnessed me play my position and do what I had to do. And now I'm at a point in my career where I got to control my own destiny. I got to drive now, you know what I'm saying? It can't be a passenger forever, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, I'm going to grab the wheel and do what I do, you know what I'm saying? Like, my contribution to Bad Boy's past 4 years has showed people that I have the capabilities and the qualities of a boss. So all I'm doing now is just actually taking form, you know what I'm saying? The whole boss up slogan and everything is just let cats know this is an empowerment situation. All my artists gonna be bosses, you know what I'm saying? When I get the doofy check, I'm giving them their budget the same day.
I stayed loyal to Death Row. Even though, you know, like you say, I had majors on my cell phone, majors on my 2-ways. I had people trying to offer me record deals from everywhere, you know what I'm saying? I stayed loyal to Death Row because I felt like at the end of the day, I was going to bring back an empire.
Loyalty in this game is a motherfucker. Loyalty in this game is everything. You know what I'm saying? Cats will really ride with you if you got, you know, if they got loyalty. You know, if cats will ride with you if they see the loyalty coming from you. You know what I'm saying? And cats will ride for you.
That's bullshit. They see the loyalty coming from you. They don't give a
you. You know what I'm saying? Only if you willing, you know what I'm saying, to stay loyal and remain loyal. But loyalty in this game is limited. It ain't, you know, it's fucked up.
If that camera was Suge Knight, you know what I'm saying, and which Suge probably will be watching this, you know what I mean, I want to tell him, I'll tell him what I tried to tell him on the telephone before his assistants wouldn't let me through. You feel me? And when I tried to set up a meeting with him before, they wouldn't return my calls, even when he was in the penitentiary. I used to always try to go see him, go talk to him directly. But, you know, a lot of the people that work for him, they would make it so hard to do. I'm out here struggling, homie. I'm out here trying to get mine. I'm grinding. I don't got time to play phone tag with some niggas sitting up in the office. I'm trying to see this man so we could discuss our business. You know what I'm saying? And I tell him the same thing I would tell him if I had a chance to really holler at him, you know what I'm saying, that I was trying to get, the chance I was trying to get. Look, nigga, I'm trying to get mine just like you. You know what I'm saying? When you was my age, you was building a dynasty. What you think I'm gonna do? You know what I mean? We the same type of niggas, you know what I'm saying? We cut from the same cloth, nigga, ghetto life. You don't think I want to build a dynasty just like you built the dynasty, you know what I'm saying? You don't think I want to get out here and get mine? I stayed down for 4 years and some change. My contract was 4 years long. It expired. I stayed down. I recorded 40 songs for the man, plus I wrote for artists, you know what I'm saying? So he already know that I'm loyal. He already know I stayed down. So my thing that I would say to him is just let me live, homie. Let me live. And I left because they didn't put the music out. I mean, it's no hard feelings. It was a business move. I signed a contract to release music. If you do not put the music out, then you're frustrating the purpose of the contract. You know what I'm saying? So it's not no hard feelings toward them. I just left because it was time to go. I mean, I had to release my music. That's my passion.
I mean, I'm no longer a member of Death Row Records, you know what I mean? So it's not nothing like personal, you know what I'm saying? It's all business, man. They gotta get his business hand up. And, you know, on Death Row, man, learn a lot.
The streets that once fueled Death Row slowly became the very thing dragging it down. While hip-hop entered a new era, Suge Knight remained trapped in the same place. In 2006, the label finally collapsed under the weight of everything that had been building for years. Death Row Records filed for bankruptcy, owing millions of dollars, bringing an end to one of the most legendary record labels in music history. Since then, the brand and music catalog have changed hands a few times, and eventually, it was acquired by Snoop Dogg in 2022.
I never imagined that. I guess. It really could have been a Crooked Eye story. They threw Eastwood in at the end. But it's really the Crook story. I might even change the title. Yeah, that was the role.
Get you some money, you're gonna feel different.
Straight up.
You might even, all that other advice I could have gave you, this is the short version. You know, get you a couple dollars, man. You're gonna feel different.
Next with Nip Hustle. Big shout out to SPR, Spotter Low. You know, I'm in the black box. Had to come through, tap in, show love one time. Yeah, y'all make sure y'all subscribe. Stay tuned. All that.